So my role at Scottsdale is incredibly varied, but all it comes down to is essentially managing the finances to the business in every capacity. So anything that is related to money essentially comes under my remit. It's crucial. If we go back to when we started first properly investing in advertising, when we went from spending £500 a day to, in the thousands, the difference in our top line revenue was absolutely day and night a day. So I think now it probably represents shopping around 30% of the revenue in the business. And that's stayed probably consistently that level for the past 5 years. It sounded really good because we've got a massive catalogue. We've got at any point we've got between 10,000 and 18,000 product variants. I was super aware, particularly with smart shopping campaigns, that all of the budget was going into these kind of small handful of products, and yet we've got an obligation as a business to try and sell all 10 to 18,000 of them. So something that would help us keep kind of rotating our stock and gives a means to push our revenue further. Yeah, it was really appealing. So I think at first that was one of my concerns as well, is I didn't want to take away from what we were already doing if there was going to be, a fee associated with it. But what I was really happy in is that I could deep dive into the figures and I could prove that there was no cannibalisation happening, and that anything that I did question, I got a reasonable answer back. It was incredibly straightforward. We work with a lot of tech partners where you're talking like 12 weeks onboarding, and I think we set a date 2 weeks ahead of time. Everything was set up before then with kind of minimal input from our side, which was good. And it went live. In terms of communication, I think we've always, it's always felt like a good partnership. There's always been a good two-way communication where if we've got something we want to raise, we get an answer promptly. And likewise, Shoptimised always kept us in the loop about what they were doing, changes they want to make to the campaign, improvements or anything like that. So yeah, it's really good. Well, I think of the 30% of revenue that is driven by Google Shopping, it works out probably a third of that is Shoptimised. Now, 10% of my business is revenue streaming, again into the millions is a huge impact. So yeah, I'd say considerable. That's why we've stuck with them for so long. Yeah, really good. I work really closely with the stock teams, so it first became visible when looking at the how many months inventory you've got on hand at any given point, was that was just rotating a little bit quicker because we were doing our existing campaigns and then kind of improving the turnover by getting clicks and sales for the stuff that just wasn't getting any visibility beforehand. So yeah, it's made stock management easier on our part and kind of taking a bit of the risk out that it comes to placing much larger pre-books with our suppliers with much higher volumes of SKUs. I don't think there was any integration cost. I don't think the integration was difficult, and you're already paying a fee on the sales that actually happen. So it seems like a no-brainer to give a bit of a try. It's the same reason we jumped on board. Yeah, it's all additional profit in the business. We'd lose 10% of our revenue. It's massive. Yeah, we would lose a considerable portion of revenue that, as a growing business, we rely on. We brought Shoptimised in because we were at a point where we were hitting a bit of a ceiling with spend and getting a decent return on it, and they offered us another avenue where we could increase our revenue and still maintain ROAS. What we've seen since then is kind of two different sides, where obviously you've got the additional revenue, that's great, but we've also seen improved inventory turnover when we have to pre-buy thousands and thousands of products a year ahead of time, and so it's helped reduce risk there. I'd recommend it to anyone else because essentially it is zero risk. You're only paying for the sales that happen, and the team have always been great to work with and reliable.